Hello, guys, welcome back to another episode of Thakkar Show. Have you heard about hypnotherapy? That's very interesting, right? Now, let me give you another word related to that: self hypnosis. That's another intriguing field to discover. Now, let me include meditation as well. Self hypnotic meditation. How beautiful and interesting it sounds. And to understand that, we have Mary Ma'am, who is an hypnotherapist and who is going to help us understand this beautiful field of hypnotherapy, self hypnosis, and meditation. It's my honor to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Jay. I appreciate you having me on the show.
So, ma'am, tell us about how did you found interest in hypnotherapy, and how did you began with your career?
Well, I found hypnotherapy personally on a personal level. I was going through a shift in my life, and I had what I would describe as a fear of exposure, of a fear of living my most powerful life, of really being my authentic self. I was starting a new career in craniosacral therapy and bodywork, and I had never had a massage before. I had never experienced these things. I didn't never heard the word chakra. These were all really new experiences for me, and I had a very deep-seated fear that I didn't understand where it came from or why it existed in me. So I went to hypnotherapy, and through the process, I was able to see an experience that I'd had lifetimes ago that kept me fearful. I had been punished for being a powerful woman and as a young child, and so it was a fear. And I don't know if past lives are true or not. I really am on the fence about it, but what I do know is that energy was very real in me. And after I did the hypnotherapy session, it wasn't an issue anymore. It really relieved me of that pressure that I had in myself, and it allowed me to step into this new world and really live authentically and in my power.
Wow, that's beautiful. So, um, also, ma'am, I would like to know that if a person wants to go for hypnotherapy, then what that person should keep in mind, or what that person should really expect about what they can get in a hypnotherapy.
Jay, that is such a great question because there's so many misconceptions about the work out there. Stage hypnosis is very different than hypnosis for therapy. People that are on the stage and being hypnotized, they know they're performing. They're part of an act, and they are aware of that. When you are doing it for therapy, it's a very personal and deep experience because your answers come from within you. No one is telling you your future or your past or your history. It is all coming from your cells, from your DNA, from your tissues, from you. So, what I would tell people is seek out a hypnotherapist if you are interested, and first meet them or have a phone conversation and make sure that you resonate with them, that it's an energetic practice. So, you want to like them, you want to feel comfortable so you can really relax, because the more you relax, the more you're going to get out of the work. And when you are under hypnosis, we're under hypnosis so much of the day already. We aren't aware of how much, when we're driving down the highway, we miss our exit. It's because we're in a hypnotic state. When we lose time or we gain time, that is also because we've been in a hypnotic state. So the body and the mind crave this relaxed hypnotic state. And so it craves it and will go to it naturally whenever it gets a moment that it can. So it's also, the other thing is, you're also more aware at the time that you're being hypnotized. You are not in a dream state. You could, if there was an emergency, you could get up and walk out of the room at any time. If you were feeling uncomfortable, you could get up and leave. There is that thing that you have to be comatose to have any results from hypnosis is also not true. You can have any level of relaxation as long as you are relaxed and open to the suggestion that's being given to you. Then it's going to work. And really, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis because you have to want it. You have to be open again. You have to be wanting it, and you have to invite the change in. You have to be ready to shift something in your life. And then it happens very quickly. And hypnosis is a really great reset of the nervous system to help you shift.
Wow, that's beautiful. And what perception I'm getting from it is like it is um, it is somewhere invoking the sense of surrender, the sense of
Yes.
surrendering to someone, because it's basically when we are opening up to someone, to
Yeah.
tell what is there inside us, to bring something which is inside us. It is also equivalent to surrendering, because initially we have to surrender our trust, surrender our beliefs, surrender our time to that person, so that that person can help us bring those things outside which were there inside us now.
Really, yes. And really, what the hypnotherapist is doing is helping to facilitate your relaxation, to deepen your relaxation, and to help you focus. And that's it. That is really it. Everything else the participant is doing. So when I developed my hypnotic meditation course and my practice, it was so that people could do this at home for themselves, because we can't always get to our helpers when we get triggered or when we have a traumatic event happen to us. Oftentimes we're alone, or we're out in the world somewhere, or it's at night, or we can't call up our helpers and get that um, that self-relaxation back, that sense of self back, because we're traumatized. So this is a practice for that as well.
Wow, beautiful. Now coming to self-hypnotism, because that's something like hypnotism as a field itself is very interesting to me personally, and self-hypnotism is even more interesting to me, because that's something, it is not just a tool for meditation, as you just said. It is a tool for multiple things, multiple problems in our lives. As if I can uh, hypnotize myself to relax my mind and my body, then that will allow me to relieve my stress in a much shorter time than that of going through the phases of anxiety.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is as I said, kind of an emergency toolkit
Yeah.
sort of practice, and I have used it that way. I've been in a car accident before where a gentleman hit me, and he got out of the car and was talking to me, and I rolled up the window and locked the door and called the police, but I was shaken. I was really upset and unnerved, and I just kind of blocked him out and did my self-hypnosis, did my RISE, and I was able to kind of keep it together and not have a confrontation, because there wasn't going to any good come of that anyway. So I just had to keep myself together and not do more harm to myself by having an exchange with this gentleman. I've also used it in restaurants where I've overheard conversations that really triggered me and really got me upset, and the restaurant didn't need to know my story. I didn't need to have a confrontation in that moment. So I went to the restroom and got myself together and did my RISE and comforted and soothed myself so that I can participate again. And I think many times we let incidents and things happen and build up, and we don't release them. So they kind of mound up on top of each other until we're a big stress ball. We're really uncomfortable in our body and in our life because we haven't taken the time to kind of release our traumas as they happen.
True, very true. So before we go and understand what is this practice of RISE, let us understand what self hypnotism is, so that we can get to understand the RISE much better.
Oh, great. Yeah, self hypnosis is really just a relaxation state. And for self-hypnosis to work, it can work in any state of relaxation. You don't have to be comatose. It doesn't have to be the somnambulism. It can be just a relaxed, aware state. So again, you can do it in a lot of different times, a lot of different places. And I learned hypnosis, but I also do yoga and meditate in my yoga practice. So when I was doing that practice, I found that meditation was very difficult for me some days because I needed something to focus my mind on. To just watch my thoughts, it was too chaotic. My mind was too chaotic and too busy. I had too much going on in my life. I had too much I needed to process. So I really needed to just slow things down. And when I started doing the 4 steps of self-hypnosis, it made my meditation practice much more fulfilling because I could address my state of being in that day. And I could target something that I wanted to shift and change, or just address having a better night's sleep, or having a little more patience with a certain issue, or having a little more enthusiasm about something. It doesn't have to, we don't always have big traumas and big adventures every day. But this is for a daily practice, because the more you practice it, the more it's going to be part of you and part of your being. And you're just going to carry it around you and have it with you anytime, anywhere, for whatever you need.
True, that's very true. And also, like when you said about meditation, sometimes in some days, particularly when there's there's some chaotic event going on, or any unexpected thing has happened, then at that some those days it is very difficult for us to let let go of our thoughts. We get too much attached with those thoughts that we go in with the flow of those thoughts, and it becomes difficult for us to catch ourselves back and say to ourselves that, hey, these are just thoughts, let them go.
And I think another dangerous thing, Jay, these days is that we believe our thoughts. If we think it, then it must be true. And that's not necessarily the truth, because what our brain wants, its number one job, is to keep us safe and to keep us well. It is not to keep us happy or to be successful or to be profitable or to be self-aware. That's not its job. Its only job is to keep us safe. So we're naturally going to walk into rooms and be suspicious. We're going to judge. We're going to look around and see who's safe to sit next to and who isn't. And it's not, so looking at our thoughts in a more critical way, and what is really true to me and what isn't, or what used to be true for me but no longer is. I know I'm not the same person I was in my 20s or my 30s. And if I still had the same programming and acted the same way as I did in my 20s and my 30s, it wouldn't be a very pretty picture. It's like we need to evolve, we need to change, we need to grow. And so now, as a grandmother, it's a very different experience and a different way of being, but it's a beautiful time to embrace too.
Yeah, true, 100%. So please tell us about RISE. How did you thought of this method, and how does it help us in anybody?
Absolutely. I have been doing hypnotherapy and craniosacral therapy, different types of body work with my clients for 20 years. So I started teaching self-hypnosis to my clients some years ago, and they were coming back and telling me how they were using the same process for different things. So they might have come to use it for better sleep, and then they started using it for patience with their husbands, or with their children, or with boundary issues, or a better golf swing, or whatever they were working on at the time. And so they really educated me on the versatility of this practice of marrying self-hypnosis and meditation. And then when RISE came to me, that acronym, then it kind of really solidified in me that this can be a simple, easy practice. You don't have to look at a piece of paper or put on headphones to do this. You can do it anywhere, anytime. It's a practice that lives in you. And again, doing yoga myself and loving my yoga practice, it's a comfort to me to know that I can take my yoga anywhere I go. It's always with me. And so this practice, I wanted it to be the same way. So I teach it as the 4 steps. So R stands for relax. You do a progressive relaxation, go very deep inside, direct your energy inward, kind of block out the world around you. And then imagine, you want to imagine a beautiful place that you feel safe. I find nature very, very peaceful for me. So I will go to the beach.
That is visible in your background.
Or the woods, or somewhere in nature. For me, that's where I really connect and where I really feel deeply myself. But other people have told me that I'll start guiding them to the woods, and they'll show up in their grandmother's attic, or in a bedroom that they had as a child, or somewhere that they were comfortable in, that they knew from their past. So the subconscious knows right where to take you. And so you imagine this really safe, beautiful place. And then you look at your block or your challenge as an object, is one way to do it. And you morph and change that object. So for example, if you're dealing with anger, imagine it as a red hot ball of flame, and then go to the beach and put it in the water and watch it turn blue, and watch the steam come up from the water and watch it transform. And allow that transformation, because our minds work in story. Our minds work in imagery and story. So when we can see our shift as a story, our subconscious picks it up really quick. And then the last step is empower. The E in RISE is for empower. So when you shift something, you want to feel proud of that. You just got rid of something that was holding you back from your best life. So now, how is your best life going to look? So if you gave up chocolate to live your best life, now chocolate's going to start showing up everywhere. What are you going to do? How are you going to deflect that? And when people's expectation is, well, you always eat my chocolate. Why wouldn't you have my chocolate? That you're strong enough that, no, I don't need that. I'm better off without that, and I'm okay with that. And so really feeling that in a deeply relaxed state allows that programming to shift.
That's very beautiful, and I think that's the imagination part and the empowerment part. I think that is when people talk about visualization, the power of visualization. I think that's what it actually reflects on. That if you actually want to visualize something, then you can visualize it. You can empower it. You can use that in real life. But for that, you need R, which is, I think, one of the most strongest pillar in the whole RISE, is you need to be relaxed.
That allows for the opening. But Einstein had the quote that imagination is more powerful than knowledge. Because with imagination, there is no limit to what you can do, but knowledge, the knowledge that we have, is limited. So you're right, stepping in, being very relaxed, and then stepping into that imagination really does help us to change our programming.
200%. I think like to understand this in an analogy, like for example, if we are someone whose work is to cut vegetables, so meditation is the knife which we use so that we can be fruitful in our work. And I think these methods like RISE is a tool which helps us sharpen that knife so we can be more fruitful to the work we do in this world.
That is a beautiful, I'm going to take that from you, Jay. I love that. That's really beautiful. I agree.
So ma'am, what difficulties have you faced till now in your more than 2 decades of doing hypnotherapy? Like in terms of having conversations with clients, or anything which you think is very unique which you have experienced and that gives a very powerful learning.
Well, I guess one of the things that I've learned is that we don't all process the same. So some people don't visualize. They don't dream. They don't see pictures. So for them, it's feeling it. It's feeling the beach. It's feeling the sand under their toes and feeling the sun on their face. So it's kind of, and for other people that have very busy minds and have a very difficult time relaxing, there are certain techniques that help with that more. And one is called a confusion technique. So you think about a lot of different things randomly really quickly. And what it does is it overrides the brain. So the brain gets tired. It's like, oh, I don't want to think about a Coke and then a bicycle and then a pair of scissors and then a pen. And then, it gets tired of this process. And so then it goes into relaxation really quickly. But no, I've had wonderful experiences through these workshops have been fun because my clients always teach me something new. I was teaching one to a woman or a class one day, and the woman came up to me afterwards and said, you said something about Diet Coke, and I didn't come in here with the intention of giving up Diet Coke, but I haven't had a Diet Coke in 3 weeks, and I don't really care to have another one.
Wow.
So there was something in her subconscious knew that was that next layer that she needed to take off. And so it happened without her even really setting a big intention, I'm going to give up Diet Coke today. It was more allowing her subconscious to come and heal whatever needed to be healed. And just because that was mentioned in passing, that's what she ended up, the habit she gave up. And she reports back to me often that she's still giving it up,
Wow,
so
that's
it's in so many ways. It helps mothers with patience. It helps students with concentration and focus. It helps with empathy and with self-compassion. Again, because you're just allowing your stories to come forward, and we get caught in a lot of negative thinking. And there's a lot of, expectation in the world of the way we're supposed to present ourselves and the way we're supposed to be that may not really be authentic to who we are. And my hope is that we're going to allow people to be more vulnerable moving forward and to really be themselves. And we're going to accept people more for who they are, because we're each a gift. We're each a piece of this big puzzle. And unless we're really living our authentic piece, the puzzle's incomplete. If we all are the same piece of the puzzle, it's going to be a not very pretty puzzle. So I'm hoping that this too is a practice that can help people get more in touch with who they really are and what their gifts are and what they're here to do in their life.
100%. And I feel being vulnerable or being your true self actually makes one more attractive towards opportunities. And this is because I don't know what it is. I think you are much more better person to help me understand that. But we as human understand very quickly that if the person is being genuine or not, even though we might not be able to tell on the basis of behavior they do or the way they talk, but we get that sense that if this person is really genuine or this person is, I don't know, I need to think about it. So and when we are being vulnerable, when we are being true of who exactly we are, people tend to show empathy even though they haven't even thought about being empathetic.
Absolutely, because I think it's appreciated. And when someone is not being authentic, there's a block up, there's a screen of some kind, there's a wall of some kind.
Filters who change
who we are. Yeah. And our gifts, I think when we're young and we don't really know what our gifts are yet, we gravitate to what the world sees as important professions and important things to do, but they may not be really authentic to who we are. Maybe we are a really good farrier and we're really good at making horseshoes, even though that's not anybody in our family does that, and we don't even own a horse, but that is our gift. But we've always been attracted to horses. We've always liked to work with metal. We just haven't quite put those pieces together yet, but there's still a need for farriers in the world. And, there's still opportunity to do that. But I think if that farrier is thinking his whole life he needs to be a lawyer, he's going to be an unhappy lawyer. And then he's going to get to a point in his life where he wants to go hang out in the pasture with the horses.
So that's very, and I think that's why we see people losing their attachment towards money and profession later in their lives, when they tend to understand that this is not exactly what I wanted to do after maybe reaching to a certain position or a certain state of mind in their life.
Yes, and I think we chase money too. We chase
Yeah.
the security of money instead of happiness. And I have been poor and I have had money in my life. And when I was happy are the times that I remember, and the times that are important to me. It wasn't whether, and they happened when I had no money, and they also happened when I had money. So it's a false illusion that is going to bring us a happiness or a fulfillment. And that's that brain wanting security and safety. It's saying, no, go for the big job, go for the money, because then you're going to be safe. You can get that big apartment in the sky and you can be safe. But you can be safe but not happy. And is that really the life that you want?
And also I feel that we connect happiness with money rather than understanding that when we are happier, we are more likely to gain money. Because when we are happier, we are more likely to be more focused, be more creative, be more unique in the field of work which we are doing.
We're invested.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. If you and there is a balance in that. You know, there's something about putting the money up that makes you invested in something.
So ma'am, before ending this conversation, if you can help us to know what we can find in RISE in your book, or if you can help us with some methods.
Absolutely. I'd be glad to talk you through a RISE session real quickly if you'd like to do that.
Sure.
You got the time for that? Okay.
Sure.
So let's start with R, which is relax. And this is going to be a session just to clear away any clutter in your mind. If there's thoughts that you've been having that have been distracting you, that aren't really helping you to focus, this is what we're going to let go of today. It's going to be very general, very easy, very, very fun. So if you would, take a deep breath, and on the exhale, close your eyes. And just allow your body to start to relax, and allow your attention and your thoughts to go inward. Let go of any noise outside of you or around you. And just gravitate inwards. And I'd like you to imagine a warm pool of energy at the base of your feet. And on your next inhale, in your time, breathe that relaxation up into your legs. Let that warmth and that relaxation relax your feet. Relax your ankles and your shins, your calves. Allow the energy to pause at your knees and pool there and circulate, relaxing that big joint of your knees that works so hard for us. Allow that energy to draw up into your thighs. And then when your legs feel very relaxed and complete and at ease, allow that energy to spill up into your hips and your pelvic bowl, relaxing all the layers of tissue in your hips. And then your gut, your stomach, your liver, your intestines, just let them let down and relax. If you've had any issues with any of the organs in your abdomen, if you've had issues with your kidneys or your bladder or your liver, maybe give them another extra moment of attention and relaxation. And then check in with your respiratory diaphragm. Maybe you'll notice it's a little more even and a little less labored. And then let this relaxation move up into your chest, filling your lungs. Let it swirl around the muscle of your heart, relaxing your heart. Allow the energy to fill your shoulders. And when you feel this energy full and relaxing at your shoulders, allow it to spill down your right arm and your left arm and come out your fingers and your thumbs. Then you're feeling just very deeply relaxed from your shoulders down to the tips of your toes. And then scan up over the top of your head, relaxing your hair, your throat, your neck, your jaw. Even your face is more relaxed. I'd like you to imagine a beautiful field. Maybe somewhere you've been before, or you can create it now in your mind's eye. It doesn't matter. But just see a beautiful grassy field on the edge of a tree line. And in your time, just notice your feet standing on the ground in this field. So notice the vegetation under your feet and also what you're wearing, what shoes you have on. Notice if the sun is out in this beautiful field and if you can feel the sun on your skin. Do you hear any birds? Is there any movement in the ground with the squirrels or the chipmunks or any vegetation underneath? Do you hear any movement? Or any sounds? Is the wind blowing? And then you look at this beautiful line of trees in the distance. And I'm going to count you down from 10 to 1 as I do. Just take a step with each number that I say back into these woods. So from 10 to 9, more and more relaxed. 8 to 7, dropping down. 6, 5, 4, easy, loose, limp, relaxed. 4, 3, 2, you're just kind of floating down the path now into the woods. 2, and then 1. And in front of you, you're going to notice that there's a big hole in the ground. And around this big hole in the ground are boxes. And these boxes represent thoughts that are distracting you. Thoughts that are just about safety and nothing else. Thoughts that are a nuisance and keeping you from being focused on the tasks at hand. So it doesn't matter, you may know what some of these boxes represent, and again, you may not. It doesn't matter, but your job is to go around this hole and knock all of the boxes into the hole in the ground. Again, be thorough, walk all the way around this big hole and look for every box possible and get it in the hole. If you need equipment or help, feel free to do that too. And I'm going to be quiet for a minute while you do your work, and then if you could just nod your head for me when you're through and all the boxes are in the hole. Okay, good. Now I'd like you to fill the hole in with the dirt that's around that hole. So you might want to get out the shovels, you can get a bulldozer, you can use your hands, you can use your feet, it doesn't matter. Just fill all the dirt into that hole, burying those boxes deeply. Let's get rid of those obnoxious weighing thoughts that don't help us. Let it all go. And whenever you are done in your time, I'd like you to get up on that mound of dirt and stand there in the superhero pose. Stand there with your fists on your hips and your spine very tall, the crown of your head pointing towards the sky, your feet very planted in the dirt underneath you. And feel the power of what you have just done. Feel your mind clearing. And feel grateful for taking this time and this opportunity to shift something in yourself for the better. Give yourself a pat on the back, congratulate yourself, and consider how much you're going to be able to get done now without the distractions. How much calmer you're going to be without the nuisance thoughts buzzing around. And then very slowly in your time, when you are ready, but don't rush this, start coming back to where you are, where you're seated, feeling your fingers and your toes, resonating more with my voice, and coming back to the present, to this podcast here with me and Jane. And open your eyes whenever you're ready. Well done, sir.
Wow, that's beautiful.
How did that feel? Did you visualize? Did you see your boxes?
Yeah, it was very relaxed.
Very good. Good. So this is just one way to do it. So again, it's something I want it to be a story. I want it to be an easy process. I use this every night when I'm going to bed to kind of reflect on the day. What went well, I congratulate myself, and where I goofed up, where I put my foot in my mouth or hurt someone's feelings, I take a minute and try to rectify that as I can, and then I let it go. And, you know, we're human. We make mistakes daily. But I think the fact that we try really matters, and that we try to stay open, and we try to stay positive, and we try to stay in the best life that we can, because we're not just doing this for ourselves, but we're doing it for everybody in our life. When we are calmer, when we are happier, when we are more self-adjusted, so is our family, so is our friends, so is our community. So we do this for ourselves, but know for sure this has a radiant effect on outside of you. So do it for yourself and your community.
100%. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's really an honor to have you, and I really hope we can have more conversations later.
I would love that. I would love that, Jay.